Hi friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I know what I look like. Jingle bell. I feel like I am, you know that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob goes into the air and he needs water and he's like, that's how I feel with my skin. It's just dying. This time of year, getting out of the shower feels awful. I feel like sandpaper. So I decided tonight, instead of doing like a get ready with me, that I would do a I'm already unready. I decided I would do like a skincare, just like get ready with me for bed type of video. While I talked about things that I don't like about being a YouTuber, which is gonna get me canceled. Today's video is a collab with my good friend Nisa. Nisa, so many wonderful things to say. Nisa is such a joy. She's such a gift of light in my life. Like, Nisa makes me laugh so hard, so often. And I think if you subscribe to her channel, you will also laugh so hard, so often. She's one of those people that is like just genuinely hysterical. Like, she's naturally so funny. She doesn't even try. Like, she's just naturally one of the funniest people I've ever met. So I'm gonna have to go tell you to subscribe because she's everything. And I'm also gonna include a clip right here of Nisa's content.
If you don't know, Disney recently launched a streaming service, a paid streaming service called Disney Plus that has, from what I can tell, like every single Disney intellectual property ever made in the history of time. And everybody on Twitter is like, oh my god, what are we watching on Disney Plus tonight, ladies? Like, me and my man were watching Disney Plus last night, and then we prayed. I did not know this many of y'all were like closet Disney stans. This is a little jarring. I get the nostalgia, but I'm looking at these people tweeting about watching like Even Stevens and Hannah Montana and Lizzie McGuire and That's So Raven and Kim Possible and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And I'm like, are y'all really sitting down to rewatch these entire series like the way that you would watch like Mad Men or Succession or Schitt's Creek or some other trendy show? Hey babe, where did we leave off in Phil of the Future last night? Babe, did you watch Phineas and Ferb without me last night? I honestly don't know enough about Phineas and Ferb to continue that joke. I've never seen it. Oh, yeah, right, babe. You're busted, right? Isn't that like a thing on it? I'm sorry. When it premiered, I was already like 14.
Oh, good, you came back. First and foremost, I'm wearing my good friend Dishwashing Liquids merch. It says it's not that deep. It's a hoodie. I wear it to bed all the time. I wear it in public too, but I love wearing it to bed because it's very oversized and cozy. I believe she's almost at 100,000 subscribers, and I don't know how she isn't already there. So please go check her out and subscribe to her because she has great content. She's very close. She has to be like hundreds away at this point. I really want her to hit 100,000 because she really deserves it. Yeah, she's like 800 away. That's not, she can do that. So today's video, we're gonna be talking about things I don't like about being an influencer while I moisturize. This is the content you signed up for. Nisa came up with this idea, so if you absolutely hate it and you need someone to cancel, I give her to you. She actually messaged me and was like, do you want to do an idea that's gonna get us both canceled? And I was like, absolutely. Being a YouTuber, okay, and I'm not really gonna show the stuff that I'm using, but I'll link everything down below so you guys can, you know, if you want skincare advice for me. Being on YouTube and being a YouTuber is like so cool. It's the coolest thing in the world. It's so much fun. There's so many positive things that come out of being a YouTuber. There's so much positivity, and meeting and talking to you guys and getting to hear your opinions is like literally the best thing in the world. It's a lie to say that there are no downsides, because everything in life has downsides, and YouTube is no exception. So today I'm gonna talk about some of the things that are just a little bit weird. People, like subscribers, weird things that happen when you're on YouTube, weird things that I don't think people would expect to necessarily happen being on YouTube, just kind of everything. I have my little post-it note. I feel like that's how I start every video now. It's like I have a post-it note, we're ready to go. The first thing I want to talk about is people who take a sense and pride of you having blocked them. There are people on this platform and on specifically Twitter that just take the utmost pride in being blocked. They say really, really, really nasty, mean stuff. And then when they're blocked, they're like,
oh, she couldn't take the heat. She couldn't handle it. She just doesn't take constructive criticism.
After you like called them the C word, like people People take this weird, and then they make it like their Twitter header. Like the picture is like, Manny MUA blocked you on Twitter. And it's like, they're like proud of that accomplishment. Like there are people who take sick pride tormenting others so much that they literally can't take it anymore and have to block them, okay? And that's not to say that sometimes people block people for dumb reasons. Like that's 100%. People sometimes block people for not very good reasons. The whole people blocking people for like blockchains is super, super weird to me. Like, I don't know why you would block someone just because they liked a tweet from someone else. Like, you can do that on Twitter, I guess, which is like, that's pretty weird. But I'm talking about the people that like take almost pleasure in knowing that they made a person so upset that they need to block them. And that was the first one I wanted to talk about because that is just so strange to me. Like, it just is so incredibly weird that it's something you would be proud of. And that one blows my mind always. That was the first thing I thought of when Nisa brought up this topic. I was like, yeah, that's super weird. The next thing is brands. So brands, sorry, I have to spritz. These are toners when they do the same exact thing. I just like spraying both. Brands like to do this sort of weird thing where they bully you. Brands like to email you and be like, we want you to say this, 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 and this, and we want you to do this, 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 and this, and we want your video to be exactly this amount of time, and we want it to have this amount of specifications, and we want you to put in, basically making the video for you, except you have to like create it to their specifications. And then they're like, and your payment, you might ask, for all of that hard work and free promotion? Well, it is free.
They're like, your payment is you get to keep the product for free.
There is a difference between giving someone PR and asking for a sponsorship. If you're a brand and you put sponsorship opportunity in the title of your email, you better have a number. You better have a figure. I'm probably not gonna take it anyway because I very rarely take sponsorships. I'm pretty picky about those, but like, you better have a number. Like, I can't stand the amount of brands. I keep getting one from this brand called Duval, and I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I don't think there's like an NDA at the bottom of any of those emails, but I keep getting spam from this brand called Duval, and I know that they sponsor Tana Mojo a lot, and they keep like wanting me to do promotion for them. And I asked, finally, I was like, is this like paid, or like what is the offer here? And they were like, oh, no, it's not. But now that I answered, I think I'm interested. So like, no, it's not paid. We'll just send you one of our shitty brushes. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Teamy is the same, like Teamy blends. God, I can't believe I ever even like remotely talked about them. I'm so ashamed of myself. That was one of the like worst things I ever did on my channel, was try to be like, oh, I didn't do any, this was like before I had any following, and I definitely should have done more research, but doing that sponsorship taught me a lot about doing research. And I didn't even get paid for it. They just sent it to me and I talked about it. And somebody in my comments was like, hey, this is not good. And then I looked into it and I was like, hey, I need to be smarter about this. Teamy constantly emails their creators. I know all of my friends get emails from them too, just like spam emails about like being sponsored by them. Teamy is like a tea, one of those diet tea companies. And oh my God, they're so annoying. And then I had this one brand one time who sent me a product. And I guess there was some sort of miscommunication, but they wanted me to do like a dedicated video. And I was like, oh no. And I had already been sent the product and I tried it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be mentioning it in this video. And they were like, oh, we wanted a dedicated video. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, that must have been, they never said that, by the way. They tried to do like a bait and switch. So they tried to be like, we always said from the beginning that we wanted a dedicated video. And I was like,
no,
I'm not gonna do that. Because I wouldn't have agreed to it if that was the case. And they were like, well, that's what we promised. And then they tried to be like, the thing that annoys me about communicating with brands is I know it's like the person I'm communicating with at the other end of that email is a person, but I hate when they try to act like they're people. Like this lady literally sent me an email being like,
please do this for us, just this one time. It really would mean so much to us.
They do that all the time too when they're trying to get you to like lower your rate, or they're trying to like negotiate a rate with you. They're like, just this one time, we're really struggling, like we really need the, and it's like, then don't, there are a million influencers, like don't, that's so insulting to haggle down a person's worth and be like, you are not worth this amount of money. Like, to haggle that down, and maybe this is just a me thing and I think, but I don't even ask for that much comparatively to what my audience size is, and I feel like people still constantly try to haggle me down. And just one more funny story about a brand. One time I had a friend who is, this is no shade, but she is a smaller channel than me, and a brand reached out to both of us and they wanted us to do this paid sponsorship with them. And they offered me a number that was like very low, and like very low, for very, very low. And I asked her, I was like, what did they offer you, just out of curiosity? Because if they're paying me this, what are they paying you? Like, I can't even imagine. And it was literally like almost the exact same compensation. And they were gonna throw in a free product for her, and they weren't for me. Like, they just wanted to pay me absolute crap. And that's when I was like, okay, this is over. So always have friends on the inside that you can communicate this stuff with, because brands try to pull one over on us a lot. They try to like pull the wool over our eyes, and they can't if we talk to each other. I don't want this to seem like I'm being mean to you guys, because 99.9% of the comments I get, besides hate comments, are so beautifully constructed, and you guys are so freaking nice and you're amazing, that there is like a 0.1% of comments that I hate receiving. And it's comments that just point blank are like, do this. I hate comments like that. People who are like,
stop with the jump cuts.
And that's it. Or people who are like,
oh my god, you have to do this video about X, Y, and Z.
Somebody keeps commenting on my videos being like,
You have to tell me all of your favorite brushes. I need to know them.
okay. And again, I don't want this to seem offensive, but the vocal minority of people who want to see a brush video is not most of you guys. Most of you guys probably don't want to see a brush video, because I don't even like watching brush videos. I think they're boring. So I would never make one. Like, I wouldn't. And it's just like people who make demands of your channel. Like, some people are like,
Oh my god, your intro music is so annoying. You have to change it.
when you phrase it like that, when you phrase it like you have to do something with your channel because I, a singular person, don't like it, that's when I'm like, what are you doing? The other type of comments that I hate getting are people who are trying to mean well, but they're just being mean. Like, people who just will casually be like, oh my god, I love your channel. It starts out great. They're like, oh my god, I love your channel. I love what you're doing. You're great. And then they'll be like,
But your eyebrows are fucking hideous and you need to shave them off your face.
and you were like enjoying the comment. You were like, oh, that's so, thank you. And then you get to that part, like comments that are like, you're walking and then all of a sudden a piano falls on you. Those are the worst kind of comments, because you thought everything was going well. You thought you were like hyping yourself up. You thought things were gonna be fine. And then all of a sudden they drop the piano of being like,
By the way, your eyeshadow's super patchy and unblended.
I still love you though. Like, comments like that are so annoying. There's just ways of saying things, you know what I mean? And it's hard because I'm like, do you like me? Do you not like me? Like, weirdly enough, those comments are even more frustrating than people just like flat out disagreeing. Because at least normally on like my commentary videos, people who disagree with me, they phrase their disagreement in a way that is like, I disagree with you, here's why, and they lay out their points. And I love comments like those, because I think it's so good to have disagreeing opinions and to have people stating their opinions in different ways and like their different insights and thoughts and situations. Like, I think that's great. But it's the people who like are just like flat out rude that are just, and I think 99% of the time they don't even know they're being rude, and that's what makes it all the worse. I think another kind of annoying thing is people, and again, I just don't want this to seem like I'm shading anyone, because I'm not, but it's people who ask you to buy and review like an arbitrary product that you had zero interest in and you've never expressed interest in, and they're like, oh my god, you have to try it so I know if I can buy it. And it's like, okay, I am all for buying products and reviewing them on my channel, and especially like super hyped up products that I know a ton of people are going to be interested in. But I think sometimes, for some reason, people tend to think that a YouTuber's channel is like their personal reviewer. Like, they're there just to make content for just you as a person. And honestly, I can kind of understand almost thinking that way, because when you're watching a person, you're watching it because you like their content. So you want them to make more content that you're going to like. But I think the other thing that sometimes isn't necessarily something that people who watch videos think about is that there are thousands of other people watching the video, and the content also has to appeal to them. So it can't just be hyper-specific content that only you would benefit from, because it doesn't benefit any of the other people that are here watching. And I think sometimes people, they don't even realize it, but they'll be like, oh my god, can you review this really obscure blush from this really random brand that came out in 2015 so I can know if I should buy it or not? And I'm like,
no.
and the other thing is too, I think, while I understand that people like look to their favorite YouTubers for reviews and they want to know what their favorite YouTubers think of a product, especially if we have like similar skin tones and stuff, like that's kind of what YouTube's for. I think it's kind of rude to assume that like every product you're interested in, especially small creators, because I couldn't just go out and buy whatever I wanted, and I couldn't use my YouTube money to like go out and buy whatever product I wanted to review for you guys. And a lot of small creators aren't in that, they're not capable of doing that. I think there's this weird thing where YouTube watchers tend to think that smaller creators and bigger creators, they don't understand necessarily the difference. And the difference really is PR. The only reason that your favorite big influencer can review every product you want them to is because they're on PR. So small creators, I feel like there's almost this pressure for small creators to keep up with that momentum. And that's frankly why I think the small creator community took a little bit of a stand and we were like, we can't afford this stuff. And that's why I think you see, it's almost like a meme sometimes of like small creators being hyper anti-consumeristic. But I think that's like, there's a reason for that. We can't just be reviewing new makeup. We can't have that be our channel's direction. We literally cannot do that because we don't have the funds to do that. So our channel has to take a different route. I cannot be like a Tati channel. I can't sit here and review new makeup for you every day because I don't get the mountain of PR that she gets. So I have to do content that is like a little bit more anti-consumerist. I have to because I can't afford it. And you probably can't either. Are you guys gonna judge me if I put on my Zit cream? I'm gonna do it anyway. I think consumers of makeup content need to stop necessarily comparing massive influencers, and even in the sense of like just a quality of production, because what I think a lot of people will come on, especially my friend Lacey, I know she deals with this all the time and I feel so bad for her because she doesn't deserve it. Her content is good and she makes the production style that she can make, and people are always commenting like, oh, your audio sucks, or like, oh, your video quality sucks. And I used to get that all the time too. I still get that sometimes. And I've put real money into my setup. People will still be like, oh, your setup sucks. And it's like, listen, do you know how much people like James Charles and Jeffree Star and Tati and Jackie Aina, like, do you know how much and Patrick Star, have you seen his studio tour? Do you know how much money? And I think honestly, that's why some people are legitimately scared to start YouTube channels, because they feel like they don't have the money to have that amazing Patrick Star setup. Like, do you know how much money that costs? Those lights are thousands. Their cameras are like $5,000. Like, that's insane. That's something that like you have to build and grow to. To expect somebody to have that level of professionalism and that level of like professional setup when they're just starting out or are a small creator is just insane. And I think that's another thing too. The difference between small and large creators is, I feel like it is actually really substantial, because I think when you're a smaller creator, people think that you're a lot more accessible. So they feel like they can cross boundaries that you normally would never cross with a bigger influencer. For example, and if the person that sent this email is watching, don't send me emails like this anymore. But I got an email literally today in my inbox that was a woman basically saying that she was like a nutritionist or something, like she did that part-time now and she was retired or whatever. And she was saying how she was offering me free nutritional advice for free. She wasn't going to charge me for free nutritional advice because she really thinks that if I lost weight, I could just keep capitalizing on the good person that I am. Okay, so there's so many things wrong with that. So many things. That's crossing so many boundaries and so many lines, and it is such a mean and crappy thing to do. Number one, you guys know me in the sense that you know what I tell you, but you guys don't know me. Like, you don't know me like that to be sending things like that to a person who is a stranger on the internet. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh my God, what foundation are you using? Or, oh my God, I'd love to recommend you this bronzer. I think it would make your face glow better. And being like, you need professional help for eating. When you don't know my history, if I've had an eating disorder, you don't know my history with like depression, you don't know if that could trigger something with me within my weight, like you have no idea. You have no idea the circumstances behind my health that causes me to be this. You have no idea any of those things because I don't talk about them because it's nobody's business. So to cross those types of lines and to cross those boundaries, as even if you're doing it with like the best of intentions, is just a super crappy thing to do. And I think because we're smaller, some people, not all, because 99% of the interactions I have are positive. I can't stress this enough. But there are definitely some people who are not capable of keeping boundaries and understanding that like I am just a stranger. At the end of the day, like, you know me enough. And also I think what some people don't understand is that while you know a lot about me because of what I tell you, at the end of the day, you're also still a stranger to me. And I kind of wish this wasn't true. I kind of wish that I could get to know the people that follow me a lot better. That's why when you guys have YouTube channels, I love subscribing to them. If I find out like one of the people, or if I like try to follow you guys on Twitter a lot, or like try to follow you guys on Instagram, because I do really like getting to know about your lives. Like, I think it's so cool to see like the people following me, how they live their life. However, that becomes like impossible to do the more you grow and everything. That was a lot easier to do when I had like 5,000 subscribers. It was easier. So in a way, this kind of sucks because I wish I could know everybody more personally, but at the end of the day, I don't. So sometimes people send me things and it just feels like, I don't know, I hope I'm not sounding like rude, but I think I'm just big on boundaries when it comes to the internet, because I think sometimes people think because they know a person so well through social media that they like know that person and that they can start depending on that person to be like an emotional crutch, or you know what I mean? And that type of stuff just like doesn't sit well. I have to draw boundaries, I feel like sometimes. I don't braid my hair every night, but I know that I'm not gonna wanna do my hair in the morning. So I braid it when I don't wanna do my hair in the morning. I also think if you wanna hear me talk about like mean comments more, because I didn't really touch on that, but that is definitely annoying, you should go watch the video where I read mean hate comments with my boyfriend. I think I explained pretty well in that kind of how those affect me as a person and how mean hate comments affect my experience on YouTube. And just, I mean, it'll never not be super weird, but it's also just like you kind of accept it's part of what you signed up for. Like people being actual like trolls and cyberbullies, that's just what you signed up for. But I kind of touch on that in that video, so if you want to go watch that, that definitely dives a lot deeper into the mean comments sector of annoying things about doing YouTube. That's it for me though, guys. I think that was everything on my list. I'm sure Nisa's video is like 1,000 times funnier than this one because she's one of the funniest people I've ever met. And I know that she had some really good fun like skits and stuff planned, which she does so well. So please go check out Nisa's channel. I think it's gonna be really good. And let me know down below what you guys think about all these topics. Are we just whiners? Like, are we just complainers? Or are these valid concerns? Like, what do you guys think? I'm very curious to hear your opinion as watchers of what our kind of critiques can sometimes be of doing this thing on YouTube. I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, the only thing left I have to do for my nighttime routine is take out my contacts and put on my glasses, but I'm gonna spare people who don't want to see that bad. So I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, which is going away on the 31st of this month, so make sure you grab Glowmas merch if you want it. It's gonna be gone until next Glowmas. We'll have some new stuff, but my merch, my social media, and everything, I just put on my face all my skincare stuff in the order that I put it on will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link, you can register to vote, and you can be part of your democracy. It's an amazing and beautiful thing. And if you're not from the United States and it like does not apply to you, please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on in your part of the world, what's happening in your country. Just make sure you're staying informed because the world absolutely needs more of that. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!